What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rishraff, and today we're going to be making a door keycard system. But not only are we going to be making a keycard system, we're also going to be making a system that you can give players a keycard. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, on the realist, what we're going to do is open up that toolbox. We're going to open up a key card here. I'm going to My Models here, and we can find a key card. We're going to insert it into the starter pack here. Once we insert it into the starter pack, we can see that whenever we test it, we will have the master key. I'm going to keep my name as master key because this is the, like I said, master key that can open any door. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is insert a part. I'm going to go ahead and insert this part. It's going to be a door, and then I'm going to insert a spawn location. I'm going to keep my videos relatively short now. Also, if you don't insert a spawn location, sometimes you could end up spawning somewhere where you don't want to. You would spawn in the middle though, but unless your creation is like not centered, then you'd end up like hurting how you would affect your project. Kind of like hitting yourself in the face with a garbage can lid. Like I was saying, I'm going to go ahead and have 3 doors. I'm going to go ahead and color these doors different colors just for the purpose of this video. And when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and add scripts to each of them. So you see I have this, actually sage green is not doing it for me. So we have these 3 doors here now. And I'm going to go ahead and put a name on it. It's going to be A1. Oh, that's an exclamation mark. You can name the doors whatever you want the room number to be, like whatever the keycard name is going to be. So how you would do that would be like you can name this room 1, 2, 3, or you can name it like B64, 69. I'm going to go ahead and add a script to each one of these doors now. And when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and name all these scripts key detectors. Script name does not matter in this instance. And let's go ahead and start coding. So we only need to code 1, and then we can copy and paste. We're going to go ahead and do a touch function. So basically how this is going to work, we're going to go ahead and set up the key detector. Basically opens the door. And what we're going to cover in this video is giving a player a key. So I've seen so many key detection systems on Roblox. That's awesome, but I have not seen a single one that gives the player a key card. It just spawns with it and just unlocks it. I apologize if you can hear my stomach growling. So in this basic touch function, what we're going to do is if the part, anything that touches this, if the part name is this door's name, so if the key name is A1, and if the parent's name, like if the door's name is A1, if A1, A1, then we unlock the door. And we're going to go ahead and say script.parent.transparency equals, now you can do whatever you want for transparency here. I'm just doing half transparency so you can see what I'm actually doing. So I'm just doing this so you can see, but you guys can always make it however you guys want. This is the wait time. The wait time is going to be how long the door will be, how long the player has before they can enter the door, or how long they can enter the door before it closes. You can always adjust that. I'm going to be putting a model to this in the description below, but I do recommend you follow the video all the way to understand the steps. I mean, it doesn't Doesn't hurt to watch it. So this is basically the script. We can go ahead and copy and paste this. You don't need to modify any of the scripts per door, so you can just keep the same script. I would recommend modifying the master key because that's the hotel owner. I'm just using hotel in this case, for example. That's what the hotel owner is going to be using to get into each room. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and make a system to where we can give the player an actual key card. Because I notice if I'm working the front desk and I can click this brick and I can get the GUI, then that's awesome and all. Then I can actually give whoever I want in the game a card to a certain room. So you can control, your admins can do this for you. I'm going to go ahead and move this input box here. And I'm going to go ahead and put a submit button in there. I'm not going to be decorating the GUI at all because I don't feel that would be necessary right now. I'm going to leave that all up to you guys. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to insert a local script now. And feel free to pause the video, follow along. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the description below. I have seen all of you guys' comments, and thank you for letting me know what to make, because I've been just wondering what I should make. And if you are following this part of the video, go ahead and leave a comment saying, I have watched up to a certain part. Just say, I have watched you code. Something like that. That way I can know that who's actually watching my videos all the way. And I just recommend watching everything, so you can understand what I'm doing. A lot of people watch the videos and they just have no idea what is even going on because I just jump into the code. But I will explain every single thing. And that's why I personally feel that I can actually teach people. So we're just declaring some variables here. If you haven't understood variables, go ahead and watch my previous YouTube videos. Pname is going to be the character that we want to give the key card to. Exists equals it's a Boolean value to see if the player that we want to give it to actually exists in the game. RS is just getting the service replicated storage. Give tool event is going to be an event that we did in the replicated storage. So let's go and actually go to the replicated storage, insert a remote event. And let's go and name it the give tool event. Remember, you can change all the names and stuff, but just stay consistent, So we're going to go ahead and start by saying script.parent.enter. And it should autocomplete .mouse button. I just use the auto completion most of the time. And we're just making a simple click function here. If you watch my previous videos, you should know how to do that. And in this, every time we click, we're going to say for IN. N because we can use, the N doesn't matter. You can say for IV pairs. You can say for underscore in pairs. I just use N in this case because I'm going to be using another for IV in pairs function later in the script. So I don't want to get confused. And I don't want the game to get confused. So we're going to get service players. And when we get the service players, we're going to say get players. Get players is an automatic function of the actual get service itself. So you can only do get players through the actual service players. So in this for loop, we're going to say if script.parent and we're going to say input field dot text. This is also how you do input, by the way, for input fields. I don't like to do specific ones because then you don't, yeah, you can put it together, but I like to learn by examples. Equal n dot name. So basically the script's saying if you get all the players, if the input field's text is one of the players in the game, then you should be good to go. Exists equals true. And pname is a string. Pname equals script.parent.infield text, input field, sorry. Awesome. Script.parent.input input field dot visible equals false. Script dot parent dot enter equals false. Nice. So basically, when we click this button here, we should see if the player exists. We're gonna do, because we didn't put a visible statement in there. And now when we try it again, our visible should work when we test it now. And go ahead and enter in the case sensitive name. Awesome. So it does work. If we entered in another player name, it would error, or it would just not work at all. It actually wouldn't work. It wouldn't error because it's an if statement. Awesome. So we got that awesome sauce. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create another GUI. Another frame here. Let's go ahead and create a frame real quick with some text boxes. Oops. And let's go ahead and put a text button in there. We can make it a little bigger. Duplicate that. Man, it's off the thing. But doesn't really matter right now. My OCD is just kicking in now. That's all. Okay. They're not all even, but of course when you customize your game, they will be. Go ahead and name each text button the room number that you want to select. You'll see later in the video what I'm talking about, and then I'm going to go and put the text. There's many ways to do this, but in this example, we're just going to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and put A2, A3. I don't know why I put A2 for this one too. A3. Awesome. So we have all these. I'm going to make text scaled so you guys can see. Awesome. So we have our text labels, text buttons ready to go. But when you click them, nothing's going to happen. And we're going to go and name this frame card frame. And then we're going to say script parent.card frame equals true. Awesome. So what we're doing here, if the player's name exists, go ahead and feel free to pause the video. If the player name exists, then we're going to go ahead and make those two game objects false, and we're going to go and show the card frame. And instead of creating a separate local script for the card frame, we can just go ahead and script it within itself. So go ahead and drop down 2 lines. I'm going to make a simple for loop. For loops don't need to take place in functions. Script.parent.card_frame get children. Whenever you're getting something inside using a for loop, always use, I always forget to do, but always use get children or something like that. You can't just write the game object itself. You have to use a get function. I'm sorry, mouse. Button 1. So it's not going to autocomplete here because it's detecting an error because it doesn't know that V is going to be a text button. So right here we're actually doing the opposite of what we just did. So before we did a function, and then inside that function was a for loop. Now we're doing a for loop, and inside of the for loop is a, you said it right now, function. Exactly. And we say give tool event, should autocomplete there. Fire server. Now why can't you just say, hey Rishraff, why can't you just clone the tool itself right now in this local script and give it to the player? And yes, you're right, that would work, but then it would only be local. It wouldn't unlock the door at all. You guys can go ahead and try it. Instead of giving the tool now, instead of calling the fire server, you could go ahead and give the tool now, but it's not going to unlock the door because it's only local. It's only on the client. And then we're going to go ahead and just destroy the parent equals nil. So now we can fire the server. Awesome. So now we can fire the server to the player, to the actual server. And now we can tell the game that a player is now getting a key card. Awesome. So that's simple. Now one last script here. I'm gonna go ahead and insert mine in the server script service. And I'm gonna go ahead and name my script the card giver. We can go ahead and start it off of how we did with the other script. We can say rs equals game get service replicated storage, and of course give tool event equals rs wait for child. You would use wait for child here because you never know when the server is going to be ready for. You could just do a straight like dot, like rs dot give tool event, but I like to use wait for child. It's just safer scripting there that way. I'm gonna go ahead and make a function. Now, when you fire events, now this is very important to know. Who fired? When you have a player who fired, card number, and receiver. So when you fire events, go to local script. Notice how I only have 2 arguments. Now, these are called arguments, if you did not know that. So when you fire an event, it can take arguments. It can push arguments through the server or whatever. This can take up to, like, I think 25. You would never do that. I think the max I've ever put was 4, but it takes arguments in Roblox. So we're pushing this through the server, pushing all this code, all this data, and it's saying v.name. V is the is the text button's name, and which is A1, A2, 3, A3. What we just did here. So we're going to push the name of the button that they clicked, and the p name is going to be, as you can see, script.parent.infield.text. The p name is going to be the player that we've chosen to receive the card. If you did not understand what I just said, go ahead and rewind the video. But basically, we're just telling the server what card we want and what player we want to give it to. But notice when we go to card giver, we have a function here. It takes 3 arguments. And we're going to go ahead and call this function actually from, let's go ahead and call it now. I'm going to say on server event connect give tool. So what happens is when you fire this event, this script is automatically going to detect that it's been fired on the server event. It's going to connect to it, and it's going to call this function to the connect. So it's going to call give tool. Now give tool is going to be called. So this function will not execute until called by here, and this function will only be called through this local script, and then vice versa. It happens like that. So inside this function, we can write new tool. We're going to declare variable new tool equals rs find first child clone key. Now notice we do not have a clone key, so let's go ahead and make one. Very simple. All we're going to go is copy this master key. We're going to go ahead to the replicated storage. We're going to paste it into that. And we're going to name it clone key. Make sure all your spelling is correct here. And when we make that clone key, now instead of saying find first child clone key, now all we have to do is new tool, because we just declared what new tool was. Now the name of the new tool is going to be the card number, and the new tool's parent is going to be game.players find first child receiver. And let me explain why we have 2 arguments here, but we have 3. We have 3 arguments here, and we have 2 being fired. That's because every time you fire a server through Roblox, it automatically sends an argument here. So let me go ahead and just, this little line right here, I don't know why I did that. This little thing right here is the player name. So this is like player. This is the player who fired the event. It always is going to double check to prevent exploiting in your game who fired what. So this argument is already making me sense. So this first one that I put here is really the second one. The first argument when you fire server will always be the player who called it and who clicked it and whose machine it's running off of. So here, as I can take what I've just said, and the first argument will always be the player who fired. That's why I named it player fired. And then we can do card number and then receiver. As you see, we have the v.name, which is the number, and p-name is the player that we want to give it to. So this is basically it for this script. There's no more scripting now. So let's go ahead and test it all out. So I didn't make this visible. You should make that invisible. Good. And we can go ahead and select the player and A2. We now have A2. It's going to be this middle one here. And it unlocks the actual door itself. I turned the anchor off. That's why it just literally fell through the base plate. You should turn on the anchors though. And then once you see, it can't unlock this one. It can't unlock these. But the master key can. There we go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I just want to tell you guys that thank you so much for supporting me. I've been getting new subscribers every single day. You guys have been joining the Discord. And thank you so much for watching. Drop any more ideas. I know I got a laser system coming up for bank robberies. So stay tuned, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.